Sometimes what feels like so weird can in the end really become a nice effect if it's dealt with properly or in the nice way of it all. The Ducktales 2017 has really put many twists on Scrooge's character and his history, and for some strange reason, sorry, I'm a little dizzy, it works. And this one here, I have to say, it's nice. It's a very unexpected moment that I didn't really believe could happen. But I like it anyway because we may very well be heading into the story arc of this season 2. Maybe. And the villain of that arc will be Flintheart Glomgold. The angry anime fan here to bring you the summary of the latest episode of DuckTales Season 2, 3, third episode, The Ballad of Baloney. As Louie and Webby go out to fish in a fishing district, they run into a guy who, according to Webby, talks uh, with a South African accent. I mean, for me, it doesn't really sound that much different from a Scottish one, but maybe that's the point. A South African one making a point to talk Scottish one. Well, either way, so uh, so either way, in that moment, they run into a guy who talks just like Glomgold but has a South African accent. After many incidents trying to find out if it's really him, while also finding out that he has the same curse as Glomgold, Webby and Louie finds out that maybe this is indeed Glomgold, but for some strange reason he does not call himself Glomgold. No, he calls himself Duke Baloney. And he is now a harborer working for a couple that in the harbor and seems to be a much more friendlier than before. In fact, while Glomgold has been missing for months, another has been acting CEO of his CEO and is doing a much better way of it than he ever does, proving that while Roxanne Featherby may treat Scrooge a little bit meanful, Flintheart is truly not so loved either. I mean, granted, however, that he's a complete lunatic, it makes sense. But this episode actually shows why Flintheart is a lunatic. And let me tell you, it's not exactly a good reason, but that's just what makes this episode a little bit fun. Either way, it's so Webby and Louis tries to many things to find out if it's very true that Flintheart is faking his amnesia, but many clues they find out is actually turned out to be true. He really does have amnesia. And this is also a nice callback to the season 1 finale. Last time we saw Glomgold, he was dragged out by a shadow and then dropped into the ocean. We thought that was playful laugh, but no, he apparently suffered a head injury and got amnesia because of it. Flintheart blows himself up on a regular basis, all because he wants to get Scrooge, but in the end, this was the one villain that made it done like that. So, in the end, Louis and Webby calls Scrooge, who talks to Duke Baloney, and does confirm that it is Glomgold, but he says to leave him alone because, well, he feels like Duke Baloney is now happy. However, during a storm when Louis and Webby are fishing and Duke Baloney is there, he suffers another head injury, and we actually do find out that the the reason why Duke Baloney, aka Glomgold, is who he is. As you all know, Scrooge is practically semi-immortal in this version, apparently 143 years old, and one of the reasons why he hasn't died yet or almost stopped aging is because, well, he was stuck in a timeless demon dimension of Demogorgona. It's not yet confirmed though if that stopped his aging or if it's just half as old as his age really is. I mean, his parents got immortality because of a little druid incident, but you know what I mean. Turns out that once upon a time, maybe 60 years ago or so, Scrooge was in South Africa, and there he got his shoes polished by a young lad named Duke Baloney, who knew that it was Scrooge. And he told Scrooge all of his plans that he was going to, well, create save money from his shoe shining, and then buy a coal mine and turn the coal coal into diamonds, revealing that Glomgold, aka Duke Baloney, has always had a weird plan ever since he was a kid. Scrooge felt though that he was promising, so he gave him a dime. Unfortunately, as you all know, Scrooge got the dime thanks to, well, his father pledging it on a foreigner who gave it to Scrooge, and that motivated Scrooge to become the one who he is today. Scrooge believed that he could do the same to Duke Baloney, but unfortunately, he couldn't, because as we all know, unlike the guy who Scrooge polished, he was just a regular guy. Scrooge was the richest duck in the world. So Duke Baloney reacted very badly when Scrooge gave him a dime. He thought he was sheep. But Scrooge did that because he felt like the young Duke Baloney had promise and inspired him to take the same path. However, Duke was instead was insulted by that, saying that, "Are you so cheap that you cannot even do that?" So he pickpocketed Scrooge for his money clip, and after that swore for his day to create the persona of Flintheart Glomgold and spend the rest of his life beating Scrooge. You know, you really have to say that is incredibly petty. But now it totally makes sense why Glomgold is Glomgold and why he is so insane. He is fixated on nothing more than a childish grudge, which he misunderstood. Scrooge did indeed create his own villain. Unfortunately, I mean, as I said before, he wanted to do a kind gesture and inspire the young boy, but the young boy was a South African who was ambitious but not very bright. He wasn't even bright as a young kid. He had good schemes, well, kind of good schemes, but he just wasn't in it, you know. So we considered that an insult. But to spend his rest of his days growing as a millionaire and just to ruin Scrooge, that is very petty. But it does show, though, that Glomgold really did have an ambitious man. He could become what he could become, just by sheer determination. And during that storm, that Glomgold returned his memories, and he's about to do something very bad with the kids when we think he's gonna ruin. But it's during that time that the harborers find out who Glomgold now really is. So he returns to his CEO and confronts Scrooge, who is in the midst of a deal with the acting CEO, and reveals to Scrooge, who has actually forgotten the young lad he met in South Africa, that he is the same lad as before, as he shows the hair clip that he's pickpocketed from Scrooge. And for the first time ever, Scrooge actually become true personally angry at Glomgold. Not because he stole that thing, because he has always considered Glomgold insane and petty and all that stuff. But now to reveal that the same young lad that pickpocketed him is a millionaire makes Scrooge think it's personal, because if it's anything Scrooge is known for, is the fact that he believes in hard work, but he doesn't believe Flintheart got that because he has cheater, as we all know. So it's so with that, Glomgold and Scrooge makes a bet. Whoever is the richest by the end of the year gets each other's companies. And I think, my friends, we will have the story here, as we all know, the story arc of the season, where who will be the richest duck. Yes, it sounds very similar to one in the original series, where well, not exactly real, but where they had to match their wealth in order to get some golden fruit in the old series. So well, so who knows? Who knows indeed? This does prove, though, that Glomgold is pretty good at climbing up the ladder from a young poor boy in South Africa to a millionaire through sheer determination. So he's not so different from Scrooge. The only difference is that he's a guy who has long, weird schemes and is motivated by nothing more than a petty grudge. In essence, he's perfectly Scrooge evil copy, and he's much younger than he looks. And that's what he does. The entire persona of Flintheart Glomgold is a facade. He doesn't even have a natural Scottish accent. Everything that Flintheart Glomgold is fake. The real Duke Baloney was an ambitious young boy, but still a little bit scheming, but got dark heart with it all. When he lost his memories, Duke Baloney came back, but was more kinder. So yes, in the end, Scrooge created his own villain, but by accident, so to speak. So yeah, I mean, a boom of an episode, and who could have actually believed this would have happened? So who knows really what will happen next? But I am definitely looking forward to more. What did you think of this episode? Give me a false if you have any.